Shalom Akim, all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashim, Shai, Bashim Kakadash, double honor step out to the great millstone. Salutations to you, Akim, doing the work of truth and sincerity. This is your Marikai of the Grand Rapids Camp doing another short video. Basically, I was watching this channel, O'Shea Duke Jackson. He makes a lot of good videos. He's part of the manosphere and everything, you know. But today he had a live stream going with several pastors on there, as you can see. You know, 6 pastors on there speaking, and the title of his video is "Why African American Men Are Leaving the Black Church for Good." So, you know, I decided to make a video about it. You know, why are African American men leaving the black church for good? And I mean, the real reason why is because there's no truth in it, and so-called Negro men is seeing through the BS, so they're leaving, you know. And there was a guy on here who proposed a question, and I just felt like, hey, I'll just answer that question that he has, and I'll show you the question. Let's see, as soon as I get to the right about here. Let's see. Yeah, right about here. There was somebody that asked the question, and as you can see, the question was, would like a clear-cut explanation of the curse of Ham, why it was used in every Abrahamic religion to enslave black people worldwide. Thanks. So, a clear-cut explanation of the curse of Ham. Now, Ham was not cursed. It was actually his son Canaan. And I'm going to get the scriptures on it. This is Genesis 9 and 25. As a matter of fact, 9 and 22. Because I'm going to read the whole story. Genesis 9 and 22. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his 2 brethren without. And Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both of their shoulders and went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. And their faces were backwards, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done. And he said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. And blessed be Yahweh, power of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant." So the curse of Canaan is Canaan being a servant of servants unto his brethren, which he's going to be a servant of Shem. That is Canaan's curse. But every nation is going to be a servant of, you know, the Israelites in the end. But Canaan is cursed to be a servant of the Shemites, so to speak, you know, which the Canaanites are the so-called Africans today, and I'll get that in a moment. And the power shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. And Noah lived after the flood 150 years. Now, so you can understand, Canaan was cursed. Not all of Ham's children, as you can read in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, and this is an excerpt from Ham. Ham, perhaps hot, because the word Ham actually comes from the Hebrew Ham, and this is what the Bible Dictionary says: the youngest son of Noah, born probably 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood, which is Ham, Shem, Japheth, Noah, and all of their wives, which they had 1 wife each. He became the progenitor, the forefather of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites, which they would be, let's see, if you get the table of nations, the Egyptians, the Ethiopians was Cush, the Egyptians Mizraim, North Africa, which is Libya, they're from Put, and the other son of Ham is Canaan, which would be known as the South Africans today. Would be the South Africans is Canaan. North Africans would be the Libyans, which is Put. The Egyptians would be Mizraim, which are the Sudanese today, and the Ethiopians would be Cush. But the only son of Ham that was cursed was Canaan, the South Africans. Okay, so that's why Esau, the so-called white man, as you can see if you take a look at this table of nations, all the nations are on here, including the children of Israel. It's not a breakdown of the children of Israel, which I always also have here. Judah being the so-called Negroes, Benjamin being the West Indians or Jamaicans, Levi being the so-called Haitians, Simeon being the so-called Dominicans, Zebulun being the Hispanics between the Hispanics of Guatemala to Panama, Ephraim being the Puerto Ricans, Manasseh being the Cubans, Gad being the so-called North American Indians, Reuben being the Seminole Indians, Naphtali being the Hispanics of Argentina to Chile, Asher being the Hispanics of Colombia to Uruguay, and Issachar being the so-called Mexicans. So that's the 12 tribes of the children of Israel on the table of nations. And then, of course, the other nations here. So, so the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, put together by Bible scholars, and mostly Edomite Bible scholars, if not all Edomite Bible scholars. And this is what they said. The youngest son of Noah, born probably 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. So we are not we do not come from Ham. And basically Esau, the so-called white man, the white scholars that put this together know that in no uncertain terms. That's why they wrote not the Negroes, because the Negroes are a dark race, are they not? And it says Ham became the progenitor of the dark races, but it clearly says not the Negroes. So that right there lets you know that we don't come from Ham, and no, we are not the Canaanites. We are not any of the sons of Ham. And the so-called white man, the Edomites, they know that. This is Genesis 10 and 6, the sons of Ham: Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. I already showed you the table of nations. Cush, the Ethiopians; Mizraim, the Egyptians; Put, the Libyans; and Canaan, the South Africans, or the North America. The Put is the North Africa or Libyans, and South Africans is Canaan. So, that's basically the clear-cut answer that you're looking for there. Now, as far as who we are, the scripture mostly going to is Deuteronomy 28, the 28th chapter, starting at the 15th verse, which it says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken. This is the Lord talking to the children of Israel. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And as you read down is a laundry list of things that happen to the children of Israel, you so-called Negroes, so-called Native American Indians, and you so-called Latinos or Hispanics. This is a laundry list of what happened to us during slavery and things that's happening to us right now. But the thing that most sticks out in all of these curses is Deuteronomy 28 and 68, which it says, and Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So Basically where it says, shall bring you into Egypt. That's where the Israelites served captivity. However, the meaning of Egypt here, which when you go deep into the meaning of it, is Mizraim, and then it breaks down to bond or bondage. So, and of course, if you go to Exodus for a further breakdown, 20, 20 and 2, it says, I am the Lord thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So when you read Deuteronomy 28 and 68, when you look at Egypt, it's talking about the house of bondage. So reading it like that, and the Lord shall bring thee into the house of bondage again with ships. Now, throughout biblical history, all throughout when the Bible was given the accounts of history, this hasn't happened to the children of Israel. However, it did happen to a people on this planet. And we go to the transatlantic slave trade. This was the routes they were taking, you know, the simple route they were taking. You know, the western coast of Africa to the coast, the eastern coast of South America and North America and Central America and North America, back to the coast of Europe and back around to the coast of the western coast of Africa. You know, and this was basically the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. As you can see, transatlantic slave trade map. I mean, there's more detailed maps, but I just wanted to get the basic map. This was the transatlantic slave trade. So they went to the coast of Africa, the coast of South, Central, and North America, back to the coast of Egypt. And that's how the trade happened. And that's the biggest way to know that you so-called Negroes, which were taken from the western coast of Africa, which is important to know, because that's where we fled from Roman persecution and stayed around 1,500 years, and took us back to the Americas, the same place where they stole the Israelites, the northern tribes, you so-called Hispanics and natives, Native Americans. They were stealing y'all from the central and south and north parts of the Americas, and transporting you back and forth to Europe. So this was the whole transatlantic slave trade. And this is one of the reasons why they're trying to take this out of history. Talking about we were immigrants, and then talking about we were already over here. Yeah, there were some of our people over here. They're known as so-called Indians. But they're not. They are Israelites from the northern kingdom. Just like the so-called natives of South America are the Israelites from the northern kingdom. And this is Amos chapter 3, starting at 2. You only have I known of all the families. Matter of fact, starting at 1. Hear this word, the Lord has spoke against you. Hear this word, Salaki. Hear this word, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, from the house of bondage, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquity, or all your iniquities. And what is our iniquities? We didn't listen to the Lord, man. Let's see, where was that? Right here. We weren't listening to the Lord. Because in the 15th verse, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken to the voice of Yahweh, Basham Yahushua, thy power, to observe and do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And that's what happened to us. That's why we're in the position that we're in to this day. And the thing about these pastors is they just don't tell the truth, most likely because they don't know the truth. They don't know what's going on. The so-called African American men are leaving the church in search for the truth because they know that it's not here. They know it's not in these churches. And of course, as it is written, See, Acts 24 and Slovakia. Acts 24 and 17. Let's see. How bad? Might be 17 and 24. Let's see. Okay, Acts 17 and 24, Slovakia. That God that made the world and all the things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So the Lord, the Most High Yahweh, and his son Yahweh Shai dwelleth not in temples made with hands. And where do these pastors dwell? In temples made with hands. So you're not going to get the truth from there. Also, the scriptures also say, go to the highways and hedges, you know, and compel my people to come in. That's in, I believe it's Luke 21 and 14. So, or 14 and 21. So, the Lord is not dwelling in these temples where these people are. I mean, there's only two pastors that actually is doing what the Bible say do, as far as wearing a beard, you know. However, they don't know the truth and they don't have the full truth. And then to explain the 12 tribes of Israel right here, where it says in Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 15. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick, and write upon it for Judah and the children of Israel his companions, which is the southern kingdom. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companions, which was the northern kingdom. And join them one to another into one stick, that they shall become one in thine hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not show us the meaning, what thou meanest by these? Say unto them, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. So that's another thing about these pastors that they're not telling you. They don't have a sign with one stick with all of the tribes together, telling you who Judah is, which are the so-called Negroes, Benjamin, the so-called West Indies, Levi, the Haitians, Simeon, the Dominicans, Zebulon, the Hispanics from Guatemala, Panama, Ephraim, the Puerto Ricans, Manasseh, the Cubans, Gad, the so-called North American Indians, Reuben, so-called Seminole Indians, Naphtali, the Hispanics from Argentina to Chile, Asher, the Hispanics from Colombia to Uruguay, and Issachar, the so-called Mexicans. They're not telling you this because this sign has a significant meaning. It's so you can ask questions. So you can ask, what do you mean by this? What is the meaning of this? Just like the scriptures say, because it's prophesied that his servants would do this, just like it's prophesied that we'll be on the highways and hedges when we are doing this. As a matter of fact, let's get that as well. So in Luke chapter 14, I believe it's probably 24 or something like that, but I'll type in 21 and see. All right. And it says, so that servant came and showed his Lord these things. and this is the red letter Bible. So the red is what Yahushua was saying. So that servant came and showed his lord these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to the servant, "Go out quickly to the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in hither the poor and the maimed and the halt and the blind." And the servant said, "Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room." And the Lord said unto the servant, Go out into the highways and hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. For I say unto you, that none of those men which have bidden shall taste of my supper. So the ones that was making excuses, basically. And that's another proof that the Lord is not dwelling in these churches, because he commanded his servants to go on the highways and hedges, like I just read. And also that one stick. So, Lord willing, you brothers that wanted to, know this, the answer to that question, were edified. Because, this is for, just answering this question that this is man had, And I'm going to put this video up, as a response video to this title, Because, it's a basic question to answer. However, there's still brothers that don't know it, because there, as you can see, there's brothers that ask this question. And with that, I hope you Akim out there were edified. Until the next time, till the next time, all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashim Shai Bashim Kakadash. Double honors to the Apostle of Great Millstone. Salutations to you, Akim, doing the work in truth and sincerity. And with that, I say Shalom.